There is a conversation that happens in the unseen realm about your life. Not metaphorically, not a spiritual decoration. A real conversation, conducted with complete knowledge of who you are, what you have walked through, what you are capable of, and what is being prepared for you. And in that conversation, your name is spoken with a specific kind of intention. The same intention that was present before you existed. The same intention that has not wavered through your worst seasons, your biggest failures, your longest stretches of doubt. The same intention that is present right now, in this moment, regardless of how far from significant your current circumstances feel. Heaven has not forgotten you. It has never forgotten you. And what is being said about your life in that unseen conversation is better than anything you have managed to say about yourself in your hardest moments. This matters because most people, by the time they arrive at a season like the one you have been in, have absorbed a story about themselves that does not match what heaven says. The story gets built slowly through accumulation, through the experience of being overlooked when you deserve to be seen, through the closed doors that felt like verdicts rather than redirections, through the comparison that planted the quiet question of whether you were simply not the kind of person good things happen to, through the difficulty that stretched long enough to start feeling like identity rather than season. That story is not true, and it needs to be confronted directly, because the life that is waiting for you cannot be fully received by someone still living inside a false narrative about who they are and what is possible for them. The enemy of your life does not primarily attack your circumstances. He attacks your identity, because he understands something that we often miss, that a person who genuinely knows who they are is almost impossible to stop. Their circumstances can be difficult, their resources can be limited, the opposition can be significant, and none of it is sufficient to prevent them from arriving at what was ordained for them. But a person who is confused about their identity, who has absorbed false narratives about their worth and their potential and what they deserve to receive, that person becomes an obstacle to their own destiny. They turn away from what is for them because they have been convinced it is not actually for them. This is the battle, not primarily the external opposition you can see, the internal narrative you have been rehearsing without fully realizing it. And the weapon against that battle is not positive thinking or motivational reframing. It is truth, specific, grounded, sourced truth about who you actually are from the perspective of the one who made you. You are not an accident. You are not a second draft. You are not someone who almost qualified. You are known, chosen, and held with a specific intentionality that preceded your birth and has persisted through every season of your life, including the seasons that seem to contradict it most loudly. Subscribe if this is meeting you where you are. What gets built here is built for moments like this one, and being here when the next piece lands matters. There is a specific phrase worth sitting with. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. The knowing precedes the forming. Your existence was not the beginning of the relationship. The relationship was already established before your existence began, which means everything that has happened in your life, every season, every failure, every stretch of difficulty, every moment of doubt, has occurred within a relationship that was never contingent on your performance, that was never dependent on you getting everything right, that has been constant through every variable, including the variables you are most ashamed of. That knowing is not surveillance. It is not God watching you with the detached observation of someone collecting data. It is the knowing of a creator toward a creation that was designed with specific intentionality, toward a purpose that was established before the creating began. The one who knows you this completely has ordained for you a future and a hope. Not a vague possibility, a specific, held, intentional future, one that your current circumstances have not derailed, your failures have not forfeited, and your doubt has not caused to be reassigned to someone more deserving. It is still yours. The future that was written for you before you arrived has not been rewritten. Most people relate to the concept of calling in a way that creates enormous, unnecessary suffering. They treat it as something they have to find, a hidden object whose location they must correctly identify through the right combination of prayer, discernment, and self-examination. And because they cannot find it with certainty, because the calling does not arrive as a clear and unambiguous communication. They conclude that either they have missed it or they do not have one. But calling is not something you find. It is something you are. Before the specific assignment becomes clear, the person capable of carrying it is being formed. And the formation is the calling in its early stage. Every season that is building your character, developing your capacity, stripping away what cannot sustain what is coming. That is your calling, actively happening. The assignment that will eventually become visible is the mature expression of what has been growing in you through everything you have walked through, which means you have not been missing your calling during the difficult seasons. You have been inside it. The wilderness was not the gap between where you are and your purpose. The wilderness was the beginning of your purpose, doing the necessary work that the later stages require. There is something about your story specifically that matters to more people than you currently realize. The difficulty you have been through, the questions you have sat with, the particular combination of struggle and faith and imperfect continuing forward. That specific story carries a resonance that theoretical knowledge never could. There are people whose specific pain matches the contours of your specific journey. People who need to hear not from someone who has always had it together, but from someone who has been in the same kind of darkness and found something real within it. Your testimony is not just the good part. Your testimony is the whole arc, the confusion, the doubt, the seasons that felt like God had gone silent, the places where you had to choose to trust without evidence. That is the part that reaches people who are drowning. Not the arrival, the journey through. And you have been on that journey in ways that are going to matter to people you have not yet met, in conversations you cannot currently imagine, in moments when your honest story becomes the thing that keeps someone else from giving up. This is part of why the preparation has been as thorough as it has been. What is being built in you is not just for your own life. It is for the lives your life is going to touch. The depth of the formation corresponds to the breadth of what will eventually flow from it. The depth of what is coming requires an accurate understanding of your own identity. Not arrogance, not the false confidence of someone who has not reckoned honestly with their own limitations, but the settled, grounded, quiet certainty of someone who knows they are loved, known, and held with an intentionality that does not fluctuate with their performance. That certainty is not a feeling you manufacture. It is a truth you return to repeatedly, especially on the days when everything in your circumstances is arguing against it. The returning is the practice, the choosing to stand on what is true rather than what is currently visible. That is what builds the kind of interior stability that sustains everything the calling requires. It is built in repetition, in the small daily decisions to believe what God says about you rather than what the accumulation of difficult experience has been suggesting. Each return to truth is a brick, and the structure being built through those returns is what your future is going to rest on. If this work has been part of how you have been finding your way, there is a link in the description where you can support it. What is given from that kind of genuine resonance is what keeps this reaching the people who need it most. There is a version of confidence that is actually fragility wearing a costume. It performs well in easy conditions and collapses when conditions get hard. And then there is the confidence that is built through genuine formation, through the specific experience of having been in the dark and found God faithful there. Having been in the place where human resources ran out and discovering that divine resources did not. Having had your own strength fail and being carried through anyway. That confidence does not perform. It simply exists as a quiet and settled fact, grounded in a track record of experienced faithfulness rather than theoretical belief. You're building that confidence right now, in this season, through this specific combination of difficulty and continuing forward and choosing to trust even when trust is costly. And what is being built is not going to evaporate when the season ends. It goes with you into everything that follows, into the assignment that is coming, into the expanded territory, into the conversations and the relationships and the responsibilities that your life is moving toward. The confidence you are building now is precisely what those future seasons will require. God knew you before you existed and established your purpose before you arrived. That is not a passive knowledge. It is an active, ongoing, sustaining knowing, a knowledge that is present in this moment with the same completeness it has always been present with, holding what was ordained with the same certainty it has always held it. Nothing has been lost. Nothing has been forfeited. The future written for you is still written. The hope established for you is still established. And the version of you that has been formed through this season, the one carrying the depth and the tested faith and the specific story that only this journey could have produced, is more prepared to receive that future than any earlier version of you ever was. You were known before you were formed. You are known still. And what is known about you from that perspective has never included the word forgotten. It has never included the word abandoned. It has never included the word too late. What it has always included is this: chosen, held, and being prepared for something that was worth every moment of the preparation. Keep going. The knowing has never stopped, and the future it is holding for you is still exactly what it has always been.